What has economists and financial analysts scratching their heads right now? So here's a question for you. As you know, I follow the gurus, and lately, every single one of them has said they have no clue what to expect in the next few years with regards to the markets and the economy. They do all agree, though, that the economic fundamentals and indicators all indicate that we are heading towards a slump in the economy and in the markets. But what's going on in the markets right now doesn't make that much sense. So much so that the gurus themselves are questioning their own analysis. Hi there, it's Monica, head guru of the Guru Intelligence Network. Welcome to Long-Term Investing Corner, where I dive deep into the markets, in particular the real estate and stock markets, to help you along your investing journey. So what exactly is going on? Since the pandemic hit, Canada's GDP has taken a nosedive. And even with the minor improvements that we've seen in the last month or two, we are still a long way off from the original levels that we saw in 2019. Since March, the unemployment rate has literally doubled. Bankruptcy rates have skyrocketed. Debt levels have been off the charts. And Canadians now owe $1.71 for every dollar they earn. At the same time, the real estate and stock markets have been climbing. Now, there's a number of reasons that have been pinpointed to why this is happening. Well, in real estate, the buying frenzy has been attributed to low interest rates. And that's great, except it's also never been more difficult to get a mortgage these days. The stress test came in 2018 and literally removed about 20% of the buyers right out of the market, including me. So who is investing in real estate right now? My observations point to two segments of the population. First, there's the inexperienced wannabe investors that have some extra cash, and they're watching the real estate markets go up, and they are experiencing FOMO. They've got this fear of missing out like crazy right now, and they are just itching to buy something so that they can get these potential gains in the market. Now, there's another segment of the real estate market who is looking at the government's printing cash and watching the value of their monies basically drop daily, and they're looking to protect their wealth into hard assets. So the stock market, on the other hand, has been propped up by government stimulus checks, COVID-19 checks, and which have been given to just about every Canadian in Canada, whether they need it or not. Now, I'm not saying these checks haven't been needed. Yes, they have. A lot of people have lost their jobs over the pandemic. But unfortunately, a lot of people got these checks and they didn't really need them. So they've got this extra cash right now. So what have they done? They've gone into the stock market and opened up trading accounts. Now, trading accounts, new ones, have tripled since the pandemic started. So clearly, that's one spot that these checks are being dumped in. So in effect, what's happening right now in the real estate and stock markets is that people are speculating and literally gambling with their money. Long-term investors such as myself, well, we know better. We know that the best time to buy is when the market is low, and the best time to sell is when the market is high. Buy low, sell high. It's not that difficult. Sophisticated investors are either selling their dogs right now or cashing out. They're not buying right now. They're hanging on to their gems. We know as long-term investors, our really good investments are the ones that we keep in the long term. The longer we hold them, the more money we make. Now, long-term investors, gurus such as Warren Buffett, are sitting on mounds of cash right now. And there's been a lot of stock investors, stock analysts who are sitting there wondering, what the heck is Warren Buffett doing? Well, clearly he's waiting for the market to drop, which it inevitably will, as it always does. And as a sophisticated investor, long-term investors, we're paying attention to the cycles and the economic indicators that tell us where the markets are at. Now, we know from cycles past that a buying frenzy, such as what we're seeing right now in the real estate and stock cycles usually indicates a beginning of a slump cycle. FOMO is huge at the beginning of this light slump cycle. So us long-term investors, value investors, are sitting there just waiting for the market to drop. That's when it's going to rain gold, and we're going to be heading out with our buckets to fill them up with the gems we've been waiting for. Buy low, sell high. But will this cycle be different? Is the market fundamentally different than it has been in cycles past? I would say that they have been. For one thing, the market should have dropped 3 years ago. And based on previous cycles and economic indicators, they should have done that already. But they haven't. So why is that? Well, it turns out that our government has been messing with the markets. They've been propping them up artificially for actually over a decade now and continue to do so. For one thing, they are printing money like there's no tomorrow. If you think this started with the pandemic, you would be wrong. Governments have been artificially keeping interest rates low for about a decade now. They've been selling bonds to themselves. This is how they keep their interest rates low. Now in Europe, the bond rate literally went negative last year in 2019 as they keep trying to keep these interest rates low. And this has had disastrous impacts on the European markets. So how long can the government keep this up? How long can they keep printing money and selling bonds to itself? How long can they keep these interest rates artificially low? Clearly, if they stop, the house of cards is going to come tumbling down. So is there something else going on here? Because this doesn't make any sense. I mean, this is a perpetual cycle that is clearly unsustainable. So is there something more sinister going on here? Is there a wild card that we're unaware of? Well, I've recently come to discover that, yeah, there actually is another wild card out there. And that's this, the Great Reset. Now, I've heard the Great Reset and I thought it was a buzzword over the last several years. I didn't pay much attention to it because I thought, well, you know, it's a catchy phrase. That's probably what the politicians are using these days. But I didn't really start paying attention to it until a few weeks ago. And that's when Prime Minister Trudeau literally came out in one of his daily COVID speeches and said, yeah, this is what I'm going for in the new Canadian economy. And I thought, geez, that's really weird. Then a week later, Premier Jason Kenney in Alberta posted a video which talked about the Great Reset. He confirmed that yes, the Great Reset is actually real. It's not a conspiracy theory. In fact, the federal agenda is clearly going after the Great Reset agenda. And not only that, it's not only a Canadian agenda, it's a global agenda. This has been in the works for decades now, apparently. I don't know how we didn't hear about this. And it's being practiced by leaders all over the world. And Jason Kenney says he has personally witnessed ultra-rich people and government leaders around the world jump in their private jets and head to Switzerland every year for their annual Great Reset conference. So what the hell is the Great Reset? How is this going to impact the markets? How is this going to impact our investments? And why the hell was this not an election issue? Why, Justin Trudeau, did you not tell us that this was actually your platform in the last election? Perhaps voters would have had a better idea of what to vote for if you did. No Canadian voted for this. In fact, I bet the Canadians that did vote for you, if they knew this was your agenda, probably many of them would not have done so. So what on earth is the Great Reset? I'm Monica Guerrera. I'm making it my mission to find out. Stay tuned next week while I start to read and dissect the Great Reset and try my best to determine how this is going to impact the economy and the markets. Is there a new strategy we as long-term investors need to be taking based on this? Thank you for watching the Long-Term Investing Corner. If you enjoyed this video, please share and subscribe to the series. If you want more information about the Guru Intelligence Network and our upcoming session of the Invest Like a Guru course, head to guruintelligencenetwork.com. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday. Cheers.